My name is Alexander GREAUX. I was Division I athlete, played sports all through my life, became a physical therapist, and then I was a physical therapist for a professional basketball team and traveled with them. Then I became a chiropractor. 20-something years later, I have multiple clinics throughout the state. So I know a lot about mechanics, I know a lot about injuries, I know a lot about performance. I have 3 daughters. My youngest one's the one that I've really been doing power core systems with. She's a 13-year-old, and she started off playing volleyball a couple of years ago, and she's really good, meaning she's a high-level athlete. Her school, because I'm going to say because of her, I'm going to brag a little bit, they won their first championship this year, so that was a really big deal for her. She was the captain of the team and really had a great experience with it. How I actually found Billy, I wasn't sure, but I came across his advertising, and I really like that he had a background in PT. He's a very accomplished physical therapist, knows a lot about injury prevention. And if people knew the statistics as to how high injuries are for these young athletes, they would be in shock, right? So, first and foremost, it's injury prevention and then performance. So when it comes to pushing an athlete to really learn how to use their body properly, it takes somebody who understands the mechanics and somebody who understands the system, and not so much maybe like a volleyball player or a baseball player if you're throwing a ball. The mechanics are all consistent, but it doesn't mean you had to do that sport. It means you have to understand how to use your body properly, how to leverage your body, as opposed to just saying, hey, just throw harder. What does that mean? Just hit harder. What does that mean? Well, how do you do that? It's not swing your arm faster alone. It's use your whole body. Right away, I just liked what he had to say. I saw some of the testimonials and I liked it, and I thought I'd look into it further. As far as my daughter's concerned, she didn't say it, but I saw that she was having back pain, and I wasn't seeking it out because of back pain, but this is what I do, right? So I would watch her and I'd see how she would fall. When she would hit a ball, she'd fall onto her side and always land on the left side, and she'd overextend. Not knowing this really as the reason that I was looking for it, it made me realize, well, it's all her mechanics and what she's going through and her follow through and then her landing. It's not like she had a lot of discomfort, but it was bothering her. One day I brought her in here into the office and we did x-rays on her, and I saw that her whole body was listing, meaning it leans to the side, right? So innately her body mechanically was shifting her to the side, and she was kind of growing in that position. So I started doing what I do to correct that, and then I realized, well, there's something in her mechanics that's wrong, and it kind of fed into that. So really thankful that I kind of had it checked out. I checked it out myself. Really thankful that Billy came into the picture kind of at the same time, because it made sense as to why that was happening, and we corrected it quickly, and actually she hasn't had any issues with her back since. So again, that's not what I was looking for. It all hit at the same time, that at that point we realized, okay, there's something going on here. And then at the same time, Billy pointed out, hey, some people do this. And yeah, that's exactly what she was doing. She was falling on one leg. She was landing improperly after she hit because she wasn't rotating. And that was causing some of the discomfort along with the overextending. Yeah, I think understanding how to use her body really empowered her, meaning it's not just an arm swing, right? And when you think of volleyball, the kid just thinks, oh, I just have to swing harder. They don't understand that it's, their torso and their chest and their abdomen. They don't understand what that means. And it started to click on her. And it was a measurable change. I will tell you that when her aha moment was, people would come up to us and say, what are you doing, right? The swing is changing. Her strength is changing. She's crushing balls like not before. And she was always really good. Now it was like a whole nother level. In the beginning of the program, you take measurements, speed measurements, right? So it's basically like what the police would use, a radar to measure your speed. So at first she was, I think, consistently hitting at 28 miles an hour. And by the end of the 7 weeks, she was already at 47 miles an hour. So, I mean, that's a huge change, right? It was a big difference knowing that she went from 28 to 47. That was a visible measurement that we did. That was huge, right? For you to be able to get that kind of a change, understanding how to properly use your mechanics, I mean, that alone was confidence for her. And then again, like I said, when she was playing club, just at practices, people would come up and say, what are you doing? Coaches would say, what's changing in her swing? And parents that would come up to us all the time and say, what are you doing? And we didn't say anything at first, right? Because we wanted to kind of see where it went. I didn't want to guide anybody and didn't want to give the secret away, right? So every time she did it, she started understanding. It became more natural for her. So Billy, first of all, was amazing. His contact is not just here, by my program and he's gone. Like, he's very invested in this, and we had regular contact with him on a weekly basis. It was, even a couple times throughout the week, because we couldn't understand something or we got something wrong, and he gives feedback on homework, right? So a big part of this is there's interaction, right? So they have homework to do, and the homework gets reviewed by Billy. Billy sends comments back, and the comments are both helpful because it corrects an issue, and also motivating, right? Because I find he does a really good job of communicating properly with the kids, right? Because sometimes it's just how you say things that make a big difference. It's also different coming from a dad than coming from a coach, right? A high level person like Billy that has the background, understands mechanics, has worked with thousands of athletes, and this is what he does. So when you get a positive reinforcement from somebody like that, it means a lot to the kid, right? So it helps motivate them and drive them more. And again, his program itself, as you're going through the homework every week, you're doing exercises. End of the week, you're sending videos as to your progress, and he comments on it, and you see the improvement. And we looked forward to hearing his comments. It was exciting to us to see, what's he going to say? What's the next step? What are we going to change? How do we get better? And sometimes he didn't make any corrections. Sometimes it was like, keep doing what you're doing. And sometimes it was, hey, you need to change this. And that little subtle thing would make a world of difference. The feedback's incredible. The system itself is great as well, in that how it's patterned in the 8 phases or the 8 weeks of treatment. That masterclass really gives you the breakdown, where some of the videos are more for the parents and the coaches, right? If there's a coach understanding or going through the program, not so much the kids, but it's the ability to understand, okay, why is my child doing this? How do I communicate that to my child? When somebody comes to me, I have a full service facility. I deal with athletes from the small level that they're in school to collegiate to professional athletes still, and then just the everyday person who has whatever injuries. What I always tell people, and what I've realized with Billy's system, is this is a prehab system, not a rehab system. And what I mean by that is, before you get injured, before you have these issues, learn proper mechanics. Pre-rehab, meaning prehab yourself to understand how to properly go through the motions, how to properly play your sport, how to excel at your sport and take it to another level. So from my standpoint, it was really great to see that you would get somebody to understand the mechanics before you have a coach saying, just keep hitting, just keep swinging, because those overuse patterns or those overuse injuries that come from bad patterns, if you don't establish a proper pattern in the beginning, you're only going to develop chronic injuries, right? So selfishly, I almost don't want to tell people about this program, right? Because it was such a difference. It's like a complete competitive advantage, right? But really, it's an amazing system that, for me, I helped my daughter a lot through it. So for me, it was like a bonding moment with my kid too, because she still has to go to practice. She still has to do her games and all her stuff with her team and her coach. But I got to be with her and go through it, and I was there. I understand that not everybody can do it, and it's set up in a way that the kids can do it on their own. But for me, we had to be together, and it was cool in that we could do that and share that together. No kid wants to do homework. No kid wants to do extra work. But once it starts to click and they start to ask you, hey, Dad, can we go do our exercises, right? It was a cool progression to see from making somebody do something to all of a sudden them telling me, hey, we got to do this, right? And them being exciting, because their excitement transferred when they realized the progression and how they were improving. There's no way I can't recommend this system to somebody, because the benefits are so amazing in that you have increased speed, you have increased power, you have injury prevention, you have a confidence that comes with it. When a kid sees it, they go from 28 to 47 miles an hour. They know they can hit. They have a confidence with it that's different than when they start. So it's just an amazing process to go through. She curses me every day because she says, Dad, you don't have the tall genetics, because she's not going to be 6 feet, but she can crush the ball, so she's in a good spot.